We have just witnessed the arrival of the man of the hour, man of the day, the man of the century. We are in beautiful downtown Willsboro at the Heritage Center Museum, a stone building located next to the former Central School here in beautiful downtown Willsboro. And we are here because they are honoring our good friend Sid Couchey. We're going to go take a look at that sign up at the end of the roadway. The sign says Sid Couchey in retrospect at Heritage Center Museum. There's a new display opening this evening. It is June 6th, 2008. We're remembering the 64th anniversary of D-Day, but here in the hamlet of Willsboro in Essex County, they are honoring our longtime friend and a longtime friend of the entire North Country, Mr. Sid Couchey. Let's wander inside and see what's on display. We came inside the display area, and the first person we come across is Sid himself. Sid, could you say a few words for us? Oh, it's a cutout. How about that? It had me fooled. It's a little bit shorter than than life size, but then so is Sid. We're going to have somebody explain to us here. This is an actual work table that Sid has used over the years, and it would show how a genius at work would operate. On the walls is a variety of his subjects that he has either drawn or created. And of course, to many folks, Sid is best known for working for Harvey Comics through the 50s and 60s, and maybe even beyond there. Richie Rich in the middle, Little Lotta on the left, and on the right, Little Dot. Three of his most famous characterizations. But he has done a large variety of events, and there have been a number of interviews, including interviews on Hometown Cable. This does not happen to be one, but he's been interviewed and shown many times on Hometown Cable. And we're hoping to get the opening ceremonies here and try to steal a moment from Sid, because as the man of the day, he is even more popular than he normally is, and his time will be at a premium, but we will try to chat with him and maybe some of the other folks who are here in attendance on this 6th of June in Willsboro. There's his wife, long-suffering wife, Ruth. This is not Ruth Couchey, as I promised you. This is
Corey Gilliland.
Is that like William Gilliland, as I would say it?
It's like it, but it's one less L.
One less L. And William Gilliland is the founder of Willsboro and one of the pioneers of this region. Are you related, even though there's different L's?
Not direct, just aside. I'm actually a newcomer. I came in 2000.
Oh.
I retired from the Smithsonian and came here, and when Darcy was the president was going to put this together, she asked if I would do it. So my husband and I did it.
Well, you've got somebody with that kind of expertise, why not utilize her, right?
Right.
So what are we doing here? What is this that we're looking at?
We decided that, first of all, that we wouldn't show any of the champies because we wanted to do it in '09, the Quattrocentennial. And so there will be a big show of just Champy. And I thought, let's show things of Sid's that aren't often shown, and not necessarily so many cartoons, etc. So what we did is, if you notice the cartoons on the window are copies of Sid's characters that we projected on the wall as a background for his other art. And we have some student art and some, such as the ice fishing there, more traditional kind of things. And that's why we said Art Toons, which is the name of the show, rather than cartoons.
Okay.
So this is the earliest in the exhibit, done in the 30s. And this is Kurt Burnham, who actually started an area in Essex and had lots to do with Essex and Wellsboro.
Okay, so there's more than just Sid's work in here, is what you're saying then, right?
No. This is Sid's work.
I see.
But it's of Kurt Burnham, who was a developer.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So this will be here how long?
Until the fall.
Until
Probably.
fall of 2008.
Right, probably the end of September.
Okay. And in 2009, for those of you who aren't quite sure what she meant by the quadricentennial, that's the 400th anniversary of the coming of Samuel D. Champlain to this region. And the Champlain, we're right on the lake here, and we want to celebrate that arrival. And Sid has certainly done his share of champion impressions over the years.
Absolutely.
And that'll be next year's exhibit.
That will be next year's exhibit, right.
Okay. And tonight, what's going to happen?
Well,
Opening night.
I believe he's going to have a brand new painting that he's unveiling. And other than that, no, just refreshments and people looking at the exhibit.
And drooling over Sid.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
He would insist and look at the man of the year, man of the hour, man of the century
There he
is entering.
He is.
Oh, he's got his entourage with him. His entourage is with him. Maybe we'll be able to, at some later date, to actually be able to talk to this gentleman. That's been one of my long-time ambitions, is to actually meet this man and chit-chat with him.
Don't you know him?
Do I know him? I ride saddle with him. We're saddle mates.
Really?
Famous saddle mates, yeah.
Through the West.
That's right. Well, and the Tom Tyler comic books. His pictures all. I sent a picture of it.
Right, and there's Tom Tyler, right? The cowboy right here.
All right. Yeah, we do have a picture of Tom Tyler on the wall. Well, Sid is obviously quite busy. Judy has got the camera. We're going to shut that off just for a moment and come right back.
Take some pictures.
Now, several people have traveled several miles. Judy and I drove up from Champlain, and you drove from Corinth.
Yep, just outside of Saratoga, a couple hours away.
Your name?
My name's Dan Busha. I've known the Coucheys for a few years.
Now, Dan, from time to time, I've seen some of Sid's recent works and old works autographed and on sale on eBay, and I usually see your name attached to that. How did you hook up with Sid?
Well, it was on behalf of a friend of mine who was a big fan of Little Lotta for many years, but was kind of, well, he's not so much terrified, but if you've ever been a big fan of somebody, you really look kind of edgy about actually meeting that person in person. So I set up an interview with Sid so she'd get a chance to meet him, at least through an interview. And I got to know Sid for like back and forth for a while. And back in 2001, he said, well, I have a lot of stuff in my attic, kind of crowding up the place. You mind giving me a hand selling it? So I said, okay, sure. And it turns out that from there, and a lot from your help as well, Cal, that there are many people, he found out that he had lots of fans out there who just didn't know what it ever became of Sid. So with eBay and other stuff, people were like, hey, Sid's out there. Let's go see him. So I've taken Ruth and Sid to a couple of comic book conventions last year, and they had some people came out from Rochester and Syracuse just to say hello. So he has a lot of people out there that want to see him and wish him well. And a lot of them are here today.
Yeah, one of the problems with a lot of the comic book companies was the artists didn't always get to sign their work, and it was just their artwork there with no recognition to them. I know even DC didn't always let their artists put their names on there for quite a while.
Well, the only reason for that is that if they got a chance to find out how popular were, they might ask for a raise.
Keep them humble, I guess.
I'm afraid so. Keep them humble and a little bit asking on the door. But with Sid Jacobson, about 10 years ago, he reprinted a lot of the old Harvey stuff and got to have the artists and writers credited. And Warren Kremer and Sid Couchey, many people got the respect that was due them, long overdue.
Now, you said you interviewed Sid. What was the premise for the interview? What were you interviewing him for?
Well, I was trying to put together a comic newsletter, but what happened eventually is I sent it over to a man named Mark Arnold, who has something called the Hardyville Fun Times out in Saratoga, California. And after that, he published it, and he put it online, and Sid's information was seen all over the world. And they said, oh, that's where he is. That's what he looks like. It's really great. So many people have contacted Sid over the mail and email, and he's gotten in contact with a lot of different people. And they still know him, still trying to figure if anybody's actually going to be here today from out in California or not. Could happen. Still early.
They could parachute in at any moment now.
Well, field prices as they are, they may just kind of send a card, actually, but still.
Yeah. Yes, fuel prices are growing, and today, as we're taping this, we have a brand new record for fuel, the oil by the barrel and crude oil. But that's not news, because that happens every day. We get a new record for crude oil.
It happened in the 70s, back when gas was like almost $1 a gallon. Everybody was freaking out back then. Comics were 20 cents a piece back then, too, so a lot of things were cheaper.
Yeah, I bought a lot of comics at 10 cents each, then they went to 12, and then 15, and now...
Printing costs.
Yeah, now they really shot up.
Now Little Dot #1 sells for $3,000 on eBay, so we wish you could find it.
Was Sid involved in Little Dot #1?
Not yet, not at that point, but after Harvey was kicking along a little bit, that's where he got in contact with Warren Kremer, who gave him a helping hand into the business. So it's good to see that there's a lot of old Harvey stuff that's out there that got warehoused after the comics closed their doors. And some of them sell for quite a good amount of money if they're actually accurately done. I mean, you're a good person as far as correcting people, and as am I, as in, Sid didn't do that when he did this one, or vice versa. You remember your watchdog too, and I'm glad to hear it.
Well, I mainly try to correct Sid, because I like to keep him humble, because he's such an egotist, as you know.
Well, no, I put the little Wikipedia page out for him, and he sent along several pages of notes, making sure everything was properly credited, and make sure you got your credit.
Yeah, he did.
Sure everybody else.
He called me. He says, "It didn't turn out exactly like I wanted." He said, "I want you to get more credit." And he called. He was apologizing. Sid is such a lovable guy. What is Richie Rich pretty much recognized as his most popular? You mentioned your friend was a Little Lotta fan, and of course a lot of people remember Little Dot.
Well, Little Dot is more of it's the idea that there aren't many comics meant for kids these days. They're much of adult fiction and such, that there are people who are adults and grandparents that want to have books that they remember in their childhood. So you have reprints or people selling the old books everywhere, and the artist is still around, and you take them to the comic book conventions and the like, and they say, oh, I remember these from the 60s and 70s, and it's glad to see this. Even if you can't get them around today, you can still buy them and still get them sold. I mean, Sid still has a lot of stuff that I've been helping him sell, and Ruth's are very grateful to have a little more room in their house because of that, for the whole eBay thing. And what it also turned out unusual was a set of movie stills that Sid had a couple of thousand movie stills that he used for reference. He got back in 1950, before he met Ruth. Back when he was puttering around on 9th Avenue, being the struggling young artist. And that's given him a nice little second honeymoon, a little extra income in their golden years. Yeah,
because movie stills can give you a good price if they're, depending on who they're of.
Well, if you're carrying around, he's had them about 50 years, and these things get not so much tons, but they do take up a lot of space. And Sid, especially Ruth, I think it was kind of, Sid had approached me, but I kind of think it was Ruth that approached him to approach me of, could we try to get these moved out somehow? So they worked out pretty well.
Yeah, he makes a little income, and they get a little extra room in their closet. Well,
I got to meet their kid. I haven't met Brian. Obviously, he's down in South Carolina. But I got to meet his daughter a couple of times. She's a very nice person. Down in Troy. I got him at the comic conventions down at the Saratoga and the one we had down in Troy. And it's nice to actually see him still out there, still seeing where all the local people are. And I'm glad you had put this together.
yeah, and he just recently, as we're taping this, within the last couple of weeks, turned 89 years old. He's still going strong.
May 24th.
Yeah, and he's going to continue with some projects, and later on I'm going to hand him a check as far as a down payment on a project that he's doing for next year for a group that I'm with, and it's nice to see him still active and still enjoying his talents.
He's getting a lot more work in his later years than maybe gotten to Harvey.
We're keeping him busy. All right, thanks, Dan.
Thank you, Cal.
The buffet table opened about half an hour ago, and this guy hasn't budged, so I had to drag him away.
Well, Ed, it was a great buffet table. I don't know what this is.
That's the leg from the table. Right through the top.
At first, I thought we have a lot of mosquitoes here, and I thought this was a mosquito tenderloin, but
No.
it certainly doesn't look like it to me.
We're talking with Jim LaForest, owner of the location of the First Pitch Hall of Fame.
That's right. It's been one of our glories. In fact, there's an extensive membership on this. As you know, you started it all.
Oh, well, Sid.
We're very thankful for you for that. But there's only one member of it that I know.
Yeah, well, yeah, but
And every time we try to get another member, the one member has veto. So Sid I think we added one more.
well, I think what happened was the standards were set so high that it's almost impossible for anybody else to duplicate that.
I think you're probably right. That was one thing I liked about my brother. He set a standard so low that everybody else in the family could exceed whatever he ever did in his lousy little life. And I just feel so honored and pleasured that you have taken time out from your horribly busy time.
You should be, Jim. Let's just tell the folks, back in 2002, June 21st, the Cleveland Indians made their first and only visit to Montreal to play the Montreal Expos. And Sid threw out the first pitch of the first game of that series, and he was so impressed with himself that he decided to institute a First Pitch Hall of Fame, and he went to his good friend from Jim's Pretty Good Bookstore, and Jim found room for it, and
right between the history department, and which has 4 books in it.
wow, that's quite a bit of history.
Well, I mean, I've read it once, so I mean, how much more do you want?
Right.
And I didn't really want it, as you recall.
That's right. I know.
And but Sid cried and cried and cried so much that I said, all right, I'll let you hang it out on the porch, but no closer than that. And he just has been a thorn in my side ever since. And I do know, to this day, we still, as you recall, Sid wouldn't throw the first pitch out in Montreal.
No, he took about half an hour.
He took about half an hour there. So when he gets talking in our bookstore on the Saturday morning, we all start yelling, "Throw the ball! Throw the ball!" And he looks nonplussed.
That was quite inspiring when 16,000 people in Montreal all at the same time said, "Throw the ball!"
That's well, you know, he's been whining a lot because, well, you know, since I'm 89 years old. I says, what's such a big deal? 89 years old. You know, we know lots of people. My wife is 89.
Your wife is 89, sure. Shirley is 89. Right?
Yeah.
And 40 years from now, you'll be 89, right?
I love this man out there in TV land. I love this man. I don't care what people say about him. He's number one.
All right, we'll let you get back to the buffet table there.
Yes, I'm building up an appetite just talking to you.
Thanks, Jim.
Okay. Go with God, everyone. I'm on my way to the buffet table. Walk this way.
Looking at the camera, looking at you, in all your glory.
Look right at that camera there, young
Got it.
man.
Yes.
Back when Sid was inducted into baseball's First Pitch Hall of Fame, he wanted to make sure that the person doing the introduction was of great prestige, and none of the Supreme Court justices were available, so he got the semi-retired Judge Charlie Lewis to do it.
Yes, I was retired, and it was a great pleasure. Of course, it was so much fun, and he had such a great time, and it was good that night. It's been great telling the story since then and kidding him about it.
Now, you are a member of the Do Nothing Club, aren't you? That
I
Sid is
am
a member
indeed.
of?
Yes, I certainly am. Very, very proud, and we do call it the Do Nothing Club rather than the DNC for obvious reasons.
I will not comment on camera.
No.
I know Sid would feel that way too.
Yeah. Well, he's such a sweetheart of a guy. He's just one of the kindest, sweetest guys I've ever known. It's just.
Now, anybody who picked up Tom Tyler Tales #2 saw that there was a character in there, a lawyer named Charlie Loose, who was loose with the law. Now,
Yes. He looked strangely, amazingly similar to some other person I see when I shave.
any resemblance to anybody living or dead is purely coincidental. I
He did a great
that
job.
part.
I did. I'm not sure I really fully appreciate it, but it was fun. It was great. It was great. Yeah.
Now, you're a Shazy boy originally, aren't you?
Well, originally from Port Henry and Witherby and Mineville, and then moved to the large city of Shazy, yes, for a year, and then I went into service in 1944.
Did you graduate from Shazy then? Or?
No, Plattsburgh High. I used to hitchhike in from Shazy into Plattsburgh because Shazy didn't have any athletic teams.
Well, that's why Bob Venn went to Champlain instead of...
Yes, exactly. Yep.
So you're in the same situation. No athletic team, so I got to play ball.
Yeah,
so
right.
go with the ball.
Well, that was your life in those days, until you went to service.
Yeah. But you've had a great career, and you're enjoying yourself now?
Yes, it's been a great time. I've been very, very fortunate, and a lot of breaks, more than I deserve probably, but I appreciate all of them, and not the least of which is my wife. We've been married for about 11 or 12 years, and she's been a great companion, a great help. Makes life enjoyable.
Well, I'll make sure she sees this then.
Well, that's why do you think I said that?
And my wife who's running that camera is a wonderful human being too.
Yes, she is. Anything else you'd like to say?
Okay. Well, we appreciate you taking a moment.
My
They're going to start the festivities in a few moments. Thanks, Charlie.
Okay. Bye-bye. Thank you.
We are talking to the former supervisor of the town of Willsboro, now assemblyperson Teresa Sayward, but a longtime friend of Sid Couchey.
Absolutely. Sid is just part of the establishment of Essex, certainly, and of Willsboro. I mean, Sid is always there. He's at every meeting, and he's just, you just know when you see a picture anywhere, it's Sid's. I am proud to say that I was at a yard sale one day, and here's this Sid Couchey painting for $15, and I have it. It's hanging proudly in my office in Albany. And Sid said, "You've really got one?" And I said, "Yeah, I paid $15 for it." He says, "Well, you paid far too much." But to look at the exhibit that's here tonight is amazing because it shows his work from the beginning all the way up through, and some of the colors he uses that maybe you wouldn't see so often in his little cartoons, and to see what a real artist he is. He's not just a cartoonist, but that's what we all think of him as. But he is a true artist, and we're just very, very fortunate to have him be a member of our community.
And when he did his Champy by the famous artist things there, you could show the talent that he had. I've got the Toulouse-Lautrec one sitting in my office at home. And
well, my son's a collector. He's got several of Sid's paintings, and in fact, several of the ones in there tonight belong to my son. And he said, if they auction off, there's one of them in there. He says, I told Mother to buy it no matter what it costs.
Even if it's more than $15.
Even if it's more than $15. But that's kind of Sid. He's never seen himself as a real artist. He's just looks at himself as more of a humorist and a cartoonist, and he truly has a talent that will be certainly remembered for generations and generations to come.
He's a very young, 89 years old, and he's certainly been a favorite son for the people in Essex County, hasn't he?
Oh, absolutely. And his sense of humor is just amazing. You know, he the minute I came in tonight, he grabbed my hand. He says, "Have you sort of wandered around in the other room?" He says, "I don't know, but there's some paintings in there. I don't know who did them." It's just that's Sid. It's just so Sid.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just, I just feel privileged to have known him.
Yeah, I do too. And Sid and I have collaborated on a couple of comic books, and it's been a joy, and we appreciate you supporting those comic books. You had
great.
your
Absolutely,
full-page ad in
I
those Tom Tyler
did.
books.
I
We
did.
appreciate that.
Well, hey, it's worth getting them printed. I mean, it's just good stuff. Stuff that will be read and read again and go down in
hopefully
history.
This is a hint to somebody. Maybe someday there'll be a permanent exhibit of Sid's work here somewhere in the area.
I think there will be. I think there will be. In fact, I heard it talked about tonight.
Okay. We're letting the cat out of the bag. Looks like the show's about to begin here,
Yes,
so
it
thanks
is.
for talking with us.
Great, thank you.
This is a painting that Sid has been working on for some time. It's going to be unveiled tonight, and the program is about to get underway here. They're trying to quiet down this rowdy gathering here in Willsboro. Sid is waiting patiently, and they're about to have this unveiling.
If you all could just unveil his latest work of art. All right, Sid, it's all yours.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, last fall, before Ruth and I went down south to be with our son, I got a call from Houston, Texas. And a gentleman said, "I would like to commission you to do a painting for me." And he described the work. He wanted it on a large piece of paper. He said, "I'm a comic book fan," and he said, "We watch your stuff like kids growing up." And he said, "I know you're one of the golden age comics for Harvey comics artists." And he said, "Here's what I would like." He said, "I have a collection of hundreds of Richie Rich comic books," and he said, "I want you. I'm taking a picture of each one, and then copying it, and I'm going to send you the copy sheet." And he said, "I want you to I'm going to send 40 of them. I want you to take those and draw them on one sheet of paper and make a montage." And he said, "Forget all titles and balloons and everything. Just all I want to know is the pictures on the comic book cover." And he told me he was very particular. He said, "I want in brush and in gouache colors and so on and so on." So I said, "Well, that's a large order." I just gotten through with the Tom Tyler comic books, and I was kind of tired out. So I said, "Well, let me think about it." So I called him back a couple of days, and I said, "This is the hardest telephone call, one of the hardest I've had to make in a long time." I said, "I'm going to have to refuse." And he said, "Well, no, wait a minute. He said, "The last thing I want to do is have you have it be hard on you." He said, "Use a pen instead of a brush. Take a smaller piece of paper. And fewer covers." And he went on, and he just knocked all the props out from under my argument. So I finally just. The last thing, what really clinched it was, he said, "Well, take a year. Take 2 years, take 3 years." So it's now 5 months later. To my surprise, I have it virtually done. I had just a couple little tickles to do, and now this, I can't wait to meet this. I never have. He said, "Now, the last thing he said, now, you might have trouble getting in touch with me in the month of May." He said, "I'm going to be climbing Mount Everest." So here's a guy that's a university science professor. He's a comic book collector, and he climbs Mount Everest. So I can't wait to meet. I'm in my mind. He must have a pet Jaguar. Drives some kind of foreign car. But anyway, so he is back now. But the thing is here. So I said, "Well, I'm having a show." I told him about the show, and I said, "Is it all right if I hang it just for that show?" And he said, "Yes, just so long as I get it eventually." So, and he was considering flying up for today, but he had too many university activities. He said, "But I'll make up later." So, but this this will be gone. But anyway, we have it for today. And I always like to drag things out. And if there's anything more I can say. Throw the ball. All right. Well, this is it. And this is, it ended up about 30 comic book covers, all pressed on one. Now the big well, I got them on, but the big problem was that I got all the covers on, but lots of times I had to keep rearrange them. So because the background colors, like you'd have one scene and it'd be a background color that would not agree with another. So anyway, the whole thing had to be color coordinated. So bear that in mind. I'm sure that's the only thing you'll think about when you look at this. Anyway, this is it.
Oh, nice.
I still haven't signed it. This one here is this guy's first comic book cover, and other are his favorites and all that. One of them somewhere here is Richie Rich #1 too. I forget which one now, but anyway, so that's it. And it did turn out about the same size as he required, but fewer. I got around close to 30 covers, and that's it. So that's what I've been doing now for fun. I did it all the time I was down south, and even some since I've been here. So that's my story. Take a close look at the
Everybody drink to sit.
There's just one that don't breathe on it.
There you have it, the official unveiling. This will go to a private collector. It's a private painting. Whether he'll allow Sid to copy it and distribute copies, I do not know. Before our program is over, we're going to spend a minute or two talking with Sid, but that we're going to have to wait our turn. There's a lot of folks here who want to bend his ear, and everyone here in one way or another is a Sid Couchey fan. Lots of folks are studying the artist's work. Please indulge us for a moment here as we just pan the crowd. A copy of this will go to my good friend Sid, and we'll just get a picture of some of the people who are here to enjoy his latest creation and to pay honor to his exhibit, which will be here through the summer of 2008. And you heard Teresa say we'd let the cat out of the bag, that maybe this will be the start of there someday being a permanent exhibit of some of Sid's creations. I know there's a large group that is working to pay tribute to the very prolific artist and creator Arto Monaco, our good friend, who with Sid and I worked in that Tom Tyler Tales #1. But there's efforts being done to honor a part of what Arto Monaco has done, and a similar type of thing on another scale will be done here in the Willsboro, Essex region. Sid is actually a lot braver than I would be with this painting that he's got here. He's leaving it out here in a situation where people could accidentally spill their spaghetti sauce on it, spill their wine on it, tip it over, and the wind gust came up, or started to rain. A lot of things go through my mind as I look at that one-of-a-kind painting that he worked so hard on over there. Would the term long-suffering apply to Ruth Couchey?
Long suffering? No, I'm enjoying every minute of it.
It's been a pleasure all these years?
Oh, yes, of course. We are having a wonderful life. I wouldn't have had it any different. We didn't make millions, but I wouldn't have been married to anyone else.
There's a lot of unhappy millionaires, you know, Ruth.
I know. Well, I'm not one of them.
You're a happy non-millionaire.
I'm a happy non-millionaire. And no, well, he's a great guy. He has a good sense of humor, and we have 2 lovely children and grandchildren. Just had a great life.
Life has been good.
It has really, and this has been wonderful tonight. I'm so surprised that so many showed up. My word.
Well, Jim LaForest came because there was free food.
Free food, that's it. That's what everyone came for.
As soon as he heard that, he hasn't left that. He's still by that buffet table, as you probably see over there.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, gee.
He hasn't left. He'll be the last one to leave.
You know, our former doctor is here.
Your former doctor is here?
Dr. Disney, yes. Oh. I asked him to come back. We need him.
Okay. Well, so this has been a pleasure. Did he spend a lot of hours this past winter on your winter retreat working on this?
He did. That's when he did. You know, when he had time to draw, that's what he drew, because it took a lot of time. It took all winter.
Oh yeah.
From January until we got home, and he still has a few little things to do on it.
Oh, he seems like he's never quite tweaked to the last little thing. He
has a few little things he has to add, he said, and also he hasn't signed it. So, but no, it kept him busy, kept him out of my hair. He loves to draw, so you know this is fine.
Yeah, well, we're going to put him busy on another project there pretty soon. And,
right. Well, being on Wikipedia and Google, why, you know, he gets jobs from all over.
Does he?
Yeah.
Well, great. Yeah, I know Dan Bush says he's helped to keep him busy, and he's cleared out some movie stills from your closet.
He does. He does very well selling things for us. He does really well.
All right. Has His Eminence moved inside? I don't see him out here.
I haven't seen him in a while. I don't know where he is.
Probably signing autographs somewhere.
He is.
Oh, thank you for chatting with us, Ruth.
Well, you're welcome. Thank you for coming all the way down here.
Judy and I wouldn't have missed it.
Well, good. Thank you. Great. Glad to see you.
Yeah, same here. I've been trying to get one Sid Couchey to talk to me, so I thought maybe if I got 2 Sid Coucheys together, maybe I could get one of them to talk with me. Which one of you is the spokesperson?
Well, sometimes he isn't. Tonight I am. Yeah.
Sid, are you having fun yet?
Yes, I've been having fun for a long time, and I've been so privileged for almost all my life. But now here's another highlight. I had the honor of having this show tonight and having everything put in here on a permanent basis, and this has just been fantastic. And I appreciate all the effort that was put in and everybody that came to visit, even you and Judy.
Well, Judy insisted. I didn't want to come. But...
Okay. Well, you reverted to the huge evil man at the moment. I thought you were going to Cal Castine and Colorado. Cal was going to come, but you take what you can get.
There are probably some people out there watching this who never read either one of the Tom Tyler Tale comics. I can't imagine that. But
no, but well, there's a few now that will be. We might have sold 1 or 2 books, and now they've been enlightened. So, anyway, they will be. They'll be reading all night.
That project that you just finished, a lot of hours in there. You don't keep track of your hours when you do something like that, do you?
No, all I know is it took me 5 months, but especially when we were down south, and Ruth and I were all in our little apartment down for my sons downstairs. I had a lot of time, especially when it was too cold to go outside, and when their swimming pool was frozen. I did spend, many hours on it, and quite a few hours a day, and especially for the old guy. It was, but to my surprise, it's like the comic book, the Tom Tyler comic book. I got interested in it, and it kept building, and just couldn't, get into a roll and just have to keep going and see what happens. So the same thing happened with this, and so it went by a little faster than I thought.
Oh, great. And if you need cold days when you can't go outside to inspire you, you should stay up this way instead of going to North Carolina, because we had a whole lot of them this year, Sid, while you were gone.
I heard, and when we've been down there a month or two, I started calling back to see what was going on up there. And my friend that usually gave me the reports, it ended up that I would call him, and he would pick up the phone, and before anybody said anything, he'd say, "Don't tell me what the temperature is down there. I don't want to hear." Yeah, and he'd say, "A storm is here and another one on its way." But it was quite a winter. Because a lot of people said, "Well, that's great. That was just an old-fashioned Adirondack winter." So it takes all kinds.
Now, Ruth tells us that this stone building was, in addition to being next to the old Willsboro School, that this was used for school building school purposes, and she taught here for.
That is correct. She was she had one of these rooms, and this was a bank. Well, this is a bank that moved up on top of the hill there too. At
Champlain
one time.
National.
Yep. And I can't remember whether. I think it was a bank before it became a school again. And it was a school quite several years.
Well, I've always said that you were from the old school, and now I think we've proven that. And you're back in the old school where you belong here.
Next thing you're going to ask me how old I am now, but I'm ignoring that. But anyway, they've redone the whole thing. You wouldn't recognize it. It had a bunch of little bitty chopped up.
You're right. So. I wouldn't recognize it. You're right, because I've never been here before. But
all right.
But that's what you meant, right?
Yeah. How long have you prepared that question? He loves to trap me. Judy, can't you do anything with him?
Now that you have completed your Richie Rich covers project, we're hoping that you will start on your next project. We mentioned earlier in this program the quadricentennial of Champlain, and last year when Gordy Little and I were going down to the Cartoon Museum in Ticonderoga, we drove through here and picked up Sid, or actually we met you somewhere, and you came along with us, and you brought with you this painting of that you'd done of Samuel de Champlain and a Native American looking out on a lake. And the lodge I am with, Woodman of the World, Lodge 462, has asked you to do a similar type of painting, showing Champlain putting across the lake, but inserting in there some scenes from modern day, so that Champlain from 400 years ago would be looking across. And our intention is to present that to a representative from France that will be here in 2009. And Sid has graciously agreed to do that. So as a down payment, this is just a partial payment. We've come with check in hand just to inspire you, because I know checks inspire talent, right?
Well, thank you very much. Up until this time, I wouldn't have said that I graciously accepted, but in the light of this, I think I can be a little more gracious than I might have been otherwise.
Really be gracious.
Yeah, okay. All right, and don't forget that you are going to do some roughing out for me.
Yes, I have to add my extreme artistic abilities, like I did with the Tom Tyler Tales, to
improve it at all.
Yeah, and then you just fill in the
blank,
the rough edge. You smooth out the rough edges. Is
right,
what happens. Yes.
As a matter of fact, the last thing I saw of yours, it was nothing but rough edges. But
I've rounded those out now over the years. Sid, that's what I've been trying to do. Now, with the poster that you'll be doing for the Woodman, we will be giving you a bunch of those to do as you will, so they'll be available for sale.
Okay.
Any idea if your friend there with the Rich thing, is that going to be one of a kind? He won't let you copy that, probably?
no, that's going to be in his private collection. And and the last thing he said, he kind of gasped when I asked him if I could show it here, and he said, "Oh, okay." He said, "Just so I get it back." So, yeah, no, he's a collector, and from what I gather from his lifestyle, he doesn't need any copies of
No, but it'd be nice if you let you have a few
Oh,
to
yeah, that's
distribute.
That's true.
Yeah, because I think a lot of people would
Well,
enjoy
I'll
this.
let you talk to him, not me.
Bring him on. We'll talk to him.
Okay.
As soon as he gets down from, what is it, Mount Everest? you
Mount
said?
Everest, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I've never climbed Poca Moonshine, so I guess he's in a different category.
Well, he said it was rough. He said he marched for 4 days before they even get to the base camp. He was pretty tired. I hope he's got enough money to write a check when he gets home. But
Yeah. Now, this is an actual table here. I don't know if Judy can, the camera's a little stiff, but I'll show it later if she can't. This is an actual table that came out of your illustrious studio, is that correct?
That's right, and all the gadgets I had in the studio too.
So this is all authentic Sid Couchey memorabilia.
Yeah, well, this is the authentic one. I'm just
Yes.
I'm just stand here.
Tell us about that.
What is it you're looking at anyway?
What is he? You know, he looks like he's staring off into the
He doesn't look very smart to me. Anyway,
He's looking for inspiration, I think.
he's probably criticizing that top picture up there.
I think that's very nice and very thoughtful, and it is almost life-size there, isn't it?
Just about.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, anything else you'd like to mention, Sid? I'm going to go around and capture some of the images on the exhibit here.
Well,
inspire people to come down.
No, this will be on more or less a permanent basis. And next year, it's going to be champions. I have enough champions that could fill this room 4 times. But no, I think people will enjoy this, and we appreciate your spreading the word. And it's nice to renew old acquaintances with Cal and Judy, and we've done a lot of stuff together. And probably none as bad as this, but no, it's been a lot of fun. And I invite everybody to come down and look it over. It'll be here. And I guess
once in a while you might be here too. If they're lucky, you might.
That's right.
If not, they can talk to the man right there.
It could be, yeah.
All right.
He'll forward anything that anything that makes sense anyway. Okay. Well, I told you that what I thought was a friend of mine came in, looked down, saw this guy, came down and talked to him, and he says, I talked to him for 5 or 10 minutes. He made a lot more sense than you ever did. So that's a kind of.
That's terrible. That's
I expected
awful.
to have some respect at this thing, but.
That's awful. I can't.
But anyway, I have to give credit to, so many people. But I'll just, I hate to do this because I'll forget so many. But Darcy and Corey and Ron and there's so many. But anyway. I really appreciate all the stuff that's going on here.
Well, as a priest in my parish once said, used to say, if I forgot you, I thank you twice.
Yeah, okay. And also, Corey's husband, Tommy, did a lot of work around here.
All right.
And the whole crew. As a matter of fact, this whole Willsboro Heritage Society, I was surprised that's growing. They got 250 members now, I understand.
Wow, they're using your name to get the membership up.
Well, that has decreased a little bit since this was announced, but
they had 500 now.
That's right. But anyway, they're an active group and seem to be growing, so it's fun to see.
All right, well, I'm glad you were able to enjoy this tonight, Sid, and we'll send you down a copy of this, and you can show your relatives how famous you are.
Okay, and thank you for, and also hi to all your viewing friends up there. I know you have a lot of them way up in the North Country there and all over the place. So hi to everybody and come down and take a look.
All right, thanks, Sid.
Thank you.
Okay, we had a gentleman who started to tell us about this picture. First of all, your name?
Well, I'm Tommy Gilliland, and my wife, Corey, is the curator of this exhibit.
You're the last
She's the one who put it
You're
together.
the last name that Sid mentioned.
Okay.
You almost didn't make his list.
All right, well, Corey's the one who did it 100%, and I helped her get these things done. But we decided we wanted to get a picture of Sid in here.
Well, who wouldn't want a picture of Sid?
And we got hold of Ruth and Sid in their winter quarters in North Carolina. and asked Ruth if she wouldn't please send us up some pictures of Sid. And we got a disc. And the problem with it was that every last one of them had Sid with a hat on. He always wears a hat.
Sometimes,
but with a hat over your head, you got problems.
sometimes it's a Cleveland Indians hat too,
Yeah.
you know. Yeah.
Frequently a Cleveland Indians hat, almost 90% of the time. So we asked her to please steal his hat and send us another one, which she did. And there were a couple of them very similar to this one that came up, and we selected it and took it over to Burlington and had it blown up.
Where do they do this? This is amazing.
Well, you've caught me right at the moment, the name of the company over there that did it for us, but if you want it, I can get it for you.
Yeah, okay.
And we had it blown up, so it was a 5-foot piece, and Sid is very close to that height at the moment. The other interesting thing about it is Sid wears glasses, and we had to cut part of that glasses off from the photograph, otherwise there was something sticking out there. This other.
What it broke off.
But it broke off, yeah. And had that made, and lo and behold, it's the exact same height as he is. So it's been a fun thing. More than once I've walked in here as we were putting this thing together and thought, oh my God.
Sid's in here.
No, and I'm the one who put it here.
Right. Takes you by surprise every time.
Yeah. Sid walked in here, and he was shocked to see himself, and Ruth the same thing. It's been fun.
He went over and started combing his hair.
Yeah. The difference is, of course, that Sid always has a hat on, and this one, we took the hat off.
Okay, this is Sid without his hat. So
Right.
those of you who've always wanted to see that, here's your opportunity.
Right.
All right, thanks for chatting with us, Tom.
He's a wonderful guy.
He is.
We enjoy it.
He is. This is Sid's earliest work in the exhibit. It's in the 1933 to 1937. I guess he's not quite sure when he drew it. Sid was born in 1919, so he was anywhere from 14 to 18 years old when he did this. It's called KDB, just a gob, ink on paper, and it's from Sid's private collection. Now this is from 1945. It's called Elvin Cross in a German prison camp. It's a watercolor on paper, and it's on loan from Catherine Cross. This was something that Sid did in 1945 for an individual. And here's that same Elvin Cross parachuting into Germany, again in the 1945 era, and it's also on loan from Catherine Cross. Elvin, either a friend from the World War II era or somebody that hired Sid to do the work. I don't think colors will quite come out as bright as they are here. It's hard to duplicate these, especially since if you've seen 5 TVs in the same room, you know that the same picture will look different on all 5 of them. This is Essex in the Future, something he did in 1989, which is, as we're taping this, almost 20 years ago. So I guess it's beyond 20 years after 1989, and it's from Sid's personal collection. And despite his gruff exterior, Sid does have a softer side, and here is a drawing he did, just simply titled Baby, and again it's from Sid's collection. It's a pastel on paper. And on a more personal note, this is from the 1970s, Sid's profile of his 2 children, titled My 2 Children. It's pencil on paper, and it's something that Sid still has, and it's part of his collection. And when Sid and Ruth are no longer with us, his 2 children will be fighting over who gets possession of it. I'm sure they'll both want this one. Hard to get this one because of the reflection off the glass here, but this is called the Stump Bridge, Waylandsburg Bay. It's a watercolor on paper. Sid's grandfather helped to build this bridge and later helped to rebuild it for $1 a day. And this is something that Sid painted 70 years ago, and it's in his own personal collection, and obviously sentimental value bridge that his grandfather helped build and then rebuild. We're not going to show the entire exhibit here because we want you to venture down, but just to give you the scope of what he has done, here's one called The Good Old Days, and it's on loan from Tom and B. Carrick, and it's a young girl with rooster and chicken, and he did in the mid to late 1960s. All right, here's a couple of movie stars. They're trying to throw me out of here. They're going to roll up the streets in Willsboro at 9 o'clock, and it's 10 officers. Right. So we don't want to get caught as they roll up the streets here. Here's Linda Darnell and Hedy Lamarr. Not Hedley Lamarr, but Hedy Lamarr. It's from 1947, watercolor on paper, and you would think that there would be a big market for someone with this kind of talent, and obviously there is. These are great, you can't call them caricatures because they're right on. These are great artist renditions of these movie stars, and certainly something that he could have produced a lot of during that time period. While at art school, Sid was supposed to do a self-portrait, so I believe this is a Rembrandt that he decided to turn into his own personal self-portrait. This is what he looked like through Rembrandt's eyes, I guess, back when he was an art student. Here's a little drawing that Sid did with Richie Rich, Little Dot, and Little Lotta. It says in 1945. I would think that probably is the wrong date because on the drawing it says 1995, so the information on the wall is wrong. With 1995, and this is, of course, where he is most famous for the former Harvey Comics. Rascal the Raccoon is also a famous local creature that Sid was well known for. This was again in the 1990s. This is something that Sid did about 1967. He was doing a little comment on the fact that the children's type of comic book that Harvey was famous for was kind of being usurped by the superhero type of comics, and you see Little Lotta and Richie Rich and Little Dot being intimidated by the superheroes here. This is something that Remington might have done at one time or another, but it's even though it's not a Western theme, it's something that is very eye-catching. Sid did this in the 1960s. It's an oil on canvas. It's on loan from Tom and B. Carrick, and it's simply called Ice Fishing. Maybe he's looking at Bewoga Bay here. Here's a little piece that Sid did for Frontier Town back in its heyday. It says it was done in the 1950s, if not in the 50s, probably in the 60s. And it's a watercolor on paper, and it's part of Sid's collection. And here's the unique ice fishing picture that Sid did, where you have the ice shanties above the ice. A lot of thick ice, must have been a cold winter. But down below, those guys might be in trouble when this big fishy bites on that conglomerate of lines there. As I said, there's a lot more to look at in there, but we just wanted to give you a rough view. Another thing that Sid has been famous for is his drawings of the lighthouses in the region. The lighthouses of Lake Champlain. And of course I was very proud when Sid agreed, along with Arto Monaco, back in the early part of this century, to team up for the Tom Tyler comic books. And Arto did the cover for us on the first one, then Sid did the drawing, and then Sid did the cover and the drawings in the second and final chapter. And this is a poster that Sid made of the three saddlemates: Sid the Kid Couchey, Suave and Cunning Arto, and Colorado Cal. So that's going to wrap it up. A nice exhibit here for a very deserving fellow, and it's all at the Heritage Center here in Willsboro. And they're about to roll up the streets, so we're heading out of here. But this exhibit is called Art Tunes by Sid Couchey, and it's worth the trip. Call down here and find out their hours, because it'd be worth a visit. And we're going to leave just before the streets are officially rolled up. Thanks for watching, and for those of you who support, viewers supported Hometown Cable TV that we think is worth your support.